Thank you for joining a conversation about practicing the words, works, and ways of Jesus. I'm Steve Griffin, and this is Formation Through Following. Hey friends, let's talk about the joyful Christ. I want to begin our discussion by thinking about an Old Testament prophet whose story is found in the New Testament. He's a liminal prophet in the sense that he's got one foot in one era and another foot in a new era. Isaiah prophesied some 700 years before the birth of Jesus that the voice of one crying in the wilderness, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Make straight the paths of our God." He's prophesying that this great prophet would appear before the Messiah. And Matthew, in his gospel, says the prophet Isaiah was speaking about John the Baptizer, when he said, "He is a voice shouting in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord's coming." So John the Baptizer is an amazing person with a unique role in redemptive history. He is preparing the way of Jesus, the forerunner, if you will, of Christ. And John the Baptizer, he challenges and confronts the powers that be. One day, Pharisees and Sadducees came to see him by the Jordan River as he was preaching and baptizing people, and they're there to, assess him, evaluate him, condemn him, this type of thing. And, a lot of times when someone, important and influential visits our church, we get all excited about that. John the Baptist, when he sees these powerful, influential men, he says to them, "You brood of snakes, who warned you to flee the coming wrath? The axe of God's judgment is poised, ready to sever the roots of the trees." Well, see, I told you he was an Old Testament prophet in the New Testament. But he runs afoul of a puppet king, a very petty, arrogant narcissist, one of the Herods in the New Testament. And Herod has him imprisoned. And in his despair, and I would say disillusionment, he struggles with doubt. John the Baptist, the great prophet, struggled with his own personal doubts. And one day, he sent some of his students to Jesus. And he says, "I want you to ask Jesus this question. Are you the Messiah? Or should we keep looking for someone else?" Now, why does he ask this? Well, as I said, obviously, within him, as he is in this dungeon, he feels despair and disillusionment and doubt. And I want to think about something I talked with you last week. The myth of redemptive violence. John the Baptizer has a picture of what the Messiah ought to be in his mind. He conceives of him as a great militaristic leader, a Davidic figure who will make Israel great again. And that's just not happening in his experience. So we can understand the question. And certainly Jesus understands the question. And so what Jesus does is he answers John the Baptist's students with Scripture. He takes them to a very well-known passage in Isaiah, and he quotes Isaiah 35 to them. Now keep in mind, I'm talking about Isaiah, John, and Jesus, and the myth of redemptive violence, that the Messiah would bring peace through killing the bad guys. And this is what Isaiah 35 says. Be strong and do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. It sounds pretty militaristic, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound a lot like what John the Baptist has been preaching himself? The wrath to come, the axe at the root of the tree. So Jesus quotes from Isaiah 35. Here's the thing, though. He totally skips that verse. Rather than quoting verse 4, Jesus decides that he will quote verse 5. Isaiah 35:5 says, the eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame will leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. And that's Jesus' message. Jesus says, go back and tell John what you have heard and seen. Then he quotes Isaiah 35:5. You see, the joyful Christ delights in healing, not killing. In fact, just to be abundantly clear, Jesus quotes Isaiah 35:5, and then he adds to it, the dead are raised to life. He's not taking life. He is imparting life. He's giving life. And so in this regard, we need to think about Jesus as joy in human form, not wrath. He is not the expression of wrath. He is the embodiment of joy. That's all for now. If you leave a comment or question, you can join the conversation. Until next time, show the world a Jesus-looking God.